everyone. Welcome to today's episode of Unraveling the Veil with your host, Katie from the yararose.com website. That is YARAROSE.com. You can also follow me on @YaraRoseHealing on both YouTube and Instagram to keep up with what's going on with me. Now let's get to today's episode. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today on this episode of Unraveling the Veil. Today, you are in for a special treat. I've talked to my best friend ever and confidant, Elaine Rosier, who is a psychic medium, to join us today. And we're just going to talk a little bit about life and how life is for us and how what we do help us see the world in a different way. And I just wanted to offer this perspective to you guys because I always found it interesting on the other side. So, everybody, welcome Elaine.
Hi, everybody.
So excited to have you here, Elaine. Do you want to talk just a little bit about what you do and how you do it or how you came to do it or how you see life or whatever feels right to you to start with?
Where do I start? I've been aware of spirit since I was a tiny child. I don't think I had an imaginary friend, but I certainly knew there were people around. I assumed everybody could see them. But since speaking to my cousins, as we're all grown women, I've realised that the people I was seeing didn't exist to anybody else. So I now know it must have been spirit. I lived a lot with my grandparents. They were Victorian mediums. So I was encouraged into the world of fantasy and fairies. Because they were Victorian. So we used to go out at night with a lantern, and very dangerous because it was literally a candle in a glass jar, and that would go and be put underneath a tree, and marbles would go out there, and a piece of cheese and a cracker, so that the pixies and the goblins would be fed, so that they wouldn't bite the fairies' toes.
Oh my gosh! Seriously,
and
that's so cool.
Yes, that's the world I grew up in. And according to my children and grandchildren, I still haven't grown up. So there you go. I haven't.
Honestly, though, I love that. And from my experience with spirit, that's how they keep saying to me. They're like, it can be magical. The world can be as magical as you believe it to be. It's the believability that allows in that magic. That is so cool. So was the food ever actually gone? Like, did it actually?
Oh, yeah, it went. It went. Probably foxes and rabbits and hedgehogs, but to me, the fairies took it. But that's how we live. It was always being grateful. It was always saying thank you to the sun for coming up in the morning, and hello to the moon for coming out at night. And then, of course, the marbles going into the little holes in the bark in the tree, giving the fairies marbles because that was their lanterns.
Oh.
Because the moonlight would hit the old-fashioned marbles would have very thick glass and the pretty colours in them. I don't know how they made them, but they did. And if you held them to the light, it would refract the light. So it did look like a little lantern. Yeah. So that would all go in the little holes in the bark in the tree. So the fairies would have their lanterns. And that was done on special ceremonies. And I think now I look at it, I always assumed we played board games on a Sunday. It wasn't. It was a spirit board or a Ouija board, as people call it.
Oh, no, really?
I just assumed it was well, you see, because I've been doing it since I was about 2 or 3. So, the visitors that came, I just assumed we were playing a game. You know, when you're little and you grow up with something. Yeah. And in those days, you didn't really question things, just went along with it. Mm-hmm. And it was exciting. The table would be cleared. This board would come out, and I'd have my special chair that grandfather made me. So it put me up high with everybody else. And we'd do these moving things around, and people were talking and laughing. And I would talk. I don't know what I was talking about. Yeah. And I suddenly realised it was a spirit board.
That is so awesome.
I know. I mean, I didn't do much on it myself. I was just sort of picking things up and whatever. And so I learned to read and spell at a very early age. And that was purely because spirit was spelling things out.
Oh my gosh, that is so cool. So did you have like people like paying clients coming, or was this just within the family on Sunday?
Well, I assume these must have been neighbours. They must have, because it wasn't necessarily family. Not necessarily.
So it was like a client that just wanted a reading.
It was, yeah. It was obviously my grandparents doing a pretty big session. And I don't know whether they paid or not. I don't know.
Yeah.
But that was a Sunday late afternoon thing, and that was it. So, as I say, and it was only later on when I saw a spirit board years later, and I thought, oh, that's the board game I used to do when I was a child.
Oh
So
my God.
innocence. Bear in mind, I am old, and old brings innocence. But no, so that was really my childhood. Reality, of course, was different. You go to school and do the normal things when you're with your parents, and it was all very, very different and very strict household and whatever. But whenever I was sad, I always had somebody, don't know who, but I always had someone to tell my troubles to. I never kept a journal, never had to. I told everybody. And I remember, because we were Londoners, someone cutting down a tree. Didn't get a lot of trees in those days. Someone cutting down a tree, and I cried because I could feel the tree crying, and my mother was so angry with me for embarrassing her in the street. I said, please don't cut that tree down. You're
Yeah.
making it cry.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
That's
I can completely relate to that. Not like when I was younger, but now even like if something,
mm,
I have roses, right? And I was like, oh, this
mm,
is so pretty. Just gonna cut a couple like things off and put them in a vase in my house. And I didn't even think about like asking the plant if it was okay if I cut a couple of pieces first. So the first time I did it, it was a whiplash. Like the plant wasn't expecting it. And it, like, I could feel the energy reverberating through my body of like all of a sudden this complete shock and this pain. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I didn't even think it never occurred to me to ask. So then the next piece I asked if it was okay. And I kind of like, this is really hard to explain, but I kind of like helped cut the energy off from where I was going to cut it so it wouldn't feel the sting of it. And then that one was fine. And the plant had given me its blessing and it was fine after that. But it was just like, those are things that you never would even think about.
no, no. You see, that's it. It's you put that beautifully because that really encompasses the feeling that you have. It's people talk about being at one with nature. It really is being at one with
Yeah.
nature. It's the same with the house, bricks. You see people touching things. I mean, my husband still refers to me as a tree hugger, and so does my son.
Yeah.
Oh, mum, the tree hugger,
Yeah.
because they create, they talk to you.
Yes.
As you know, I live in a little tiny village in England, and it's really cut off and remote, and it's beautiful. And of course, as you know, I garden, I do all sorts of things, so I understand that about planting things,
Yeah.
harvesting, but giving back.
Yeah.
So when it's solstice, as you know, I told you before, I put the vegetable and a piece of fruit back into the ground to
Mm.
thank Mother Nature for what she's given,
Yeah.
so that I'm giving back what she's given to me.
Yeah.
That's how the cycle for me, not everybody,
Yeah.
but for me works. I know you feel of a similar nature, but I still do. I've been cutting back ready now for autumn and winter. And there I am with the secretaries going, sorry, but it
Yeah.
has to be done for your own good. I'm really sorry. And I
Mm.
wonder what my neighbours must think. Sorry, sorry. As I'm going, because, I've got an enormous garden. And
Yeah.
I'm going, sorry, sorry. But, she's bountiful. Mother Nature gives back again.
Yeah.
But houses are the same. I remember, I must have been in my 40s, and there was a house on fire. I was in Sussex, and the house across, an old house, was badly on fire.
Oh,
And I could feel and see literally all the people that have lived in it before. I could see their energies, and I was scared that they were going to be burnt, but I couldn't.
sure.
I know it was awful. I couldn't stop looking. Dreadful, isn't it? There was nobody in the house. I mean, it was empty. It was
Yeah.
derelict. But I could see and feel. And I got right back to the very embers of the house. And then the roof just fell in. And then slowly after the fire brigade did their bit. And when I walked past the next day, I just got this feeling of I was sad because the house was gone and
Yeah.
all the memories. It
Yeah.
wasn't actually. The house was re-energized. It wanted the ground back. It didn't want to be built on.
And think when you say it had all of these energies of everyone that's ever lived there, right? Like I totally believe that. And I think that anybody that ever inhabits any specific thing, you're leaving an essence of some kind behind. So when it burned, it literally burned and actually freed all of those essences back to be returned to the universe in whatever way. Usually I say that when I'm freeing things, I ask it to go straight to, God or source or whatever to be filtered back into unconditional love and redistributed to whoever it came from. In that moment, it's like that's kind of what it was doing. It was freeing that space of all of the old stuff so it could begin again.
See, that's interesting. because, as you know, I don't heal. I see.
You
So,
say
and hear.
that. Okay,
So,
wait 1 second. You say that you are not a healer, and she does say that. But Elaine Elaine doesn't see herself as a healer, but I would like to point out that her ability does facilitate the opportunity for healing. So I do see her as a healer. It's just a perception shift.
bless you, sweetheart, for saying that. Thank you.
Well,
I don't see myself as a healer,
yeah.
bless you. But it's interesting to hear coming from a healer that heals all the time, to hear how you see it. Because I can understand the release. But
Yeah.
for that moment, I saw flames. So automatically my human side went, pain. But
Yeah.
then, of course, it wasn't. I had to wait till the next day to get that feeling of actually, this was freedom, this was
Yeah.
release.
Yeah.
But you as a healer, do you see? So it's really interesting. And I
Yeah.
think this is what people might like to hear, because people go, trust your intuition. But what if a person is intelligent? And you must have had this in the early days, because you've got a very intelligent, analytical, and logical head,
Oh, for
as
sure.
well as your incredible spiritual side.
Yeah.
I just do spirit. I've lived with this for so many double figure years now that I'm used to just thinking spiritually. But the point is, it's a bit like yes and no,
Yeah.
can't, isn't it for you?
Yeah.
Because you've got to weigh up, well, that's not logical. No,
Yeah.
but I feel it. So,
Hmm.
how many people out there don't do things or don't enjoy things purely because they don't think that what they're feeling is what they should trust?
Oh, a lot. I think a lot of people. And then I think they just get really confused. And then that's when I think they
Mm.
sometimes turn to either other people, which is just adding more confusion in, because I think that seeking help outside of yourself is it's a good avenue to pursue. But I think that you ultimately always have to choose what is right for your heart. And sometimes the people outside of you just don't have the full picture of what you came here to do. So they might be seeing through their perception and their experiences, and they might lead you down the wrong road, not intentionally, in a loving way. They're doing it out of love, but they don't know that, you came here to pursue this path. And by ignoring your intuition, ignoring that gut feeling, and doing what is culturally acceptable, you're actually getting further away from your higher self, which is going to cause you more inner conflict, right?
Yeah, beautifully put. Beautifully put, as always, Katie. You do
Oh.
it so well, my darling. You really do. I like, as you know, I like to simplify everything. That makes such sense. It really is. The older I get, I think I see things so plainly, and it doesn't make me sad. I just feel a little down for the fact is we can find enjoyment in the tiniest things.
Yeah.
How many people are missing those little things? I just want to say to people, just trust that gut instinct. Call it what you like, call it intuition, call it gut instinct, call it whatever. But there's always something in there that will put you on the right path. Always something. Even if it's a little glimmer, manifestation. I mean, for goodness sake, where would we be without manifesting?
Right.
Got to, haven't you? For years, I told clients, manifest. I didn't do it myself. I believed in it, but I just didn't do it myself until COVID came and I wanted to move and kept saying to my husband, I keep seeing this blue summer house, keep hearing cows and I can hear a combine harvester. And I mean, we're in a nice part of Sussex, but certainly not. And we were by the sea, for goodness sake. You're not going to find a combine harvester by the sea.
No.
And my husband went, yeah, right, whatever, being practical.
Yeah.
And the opportunity to move here came. And of course, the minute we saw it, blue summer house, combine harvester, and the cows, because we're at the back of a farm, a working farm. And I looked at my husband and went, but it was, I didn't go there going, I just put it out on a dog walk to the heavens.
Yeah.
Now would be the perfect time.
Yes.
And I would like to be a hedge witch, which is what I must have been in a past life. I'd like to be able to be totally surrounded by nature, not water anymore, but greenery, and grow my own stuff and just immerse myself in like Midsummer Murders. I don't know if you get that series in the United States. It's a little village life that usually has murders. I didn't want the murders. I just wanted the village life and the complexity of it.
Sure.
And lo and behold, you have. And that's it. So I actually learned a lesson for myself, which was do as you would be done by. If you encourage people to do it, make sure you've done it yourself.
Yeah.
But
Lead by example.
That's it. Yeah. But what if people don't? What if people don't see that there's a little glimmer of hope.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I mean, it's great while we're working with our clients and family and friends,
Mm,
but what about the people we don't touch?
right.
That's what I'd like to reach out to. I don't know how. Maybe something like this would
Yeah.
work. But just to get out to those, not the non-believers, because those that don't believe will never believe. They don't want to. They're scared of whatever.
Well, they're
But
not ready
just
yet.
no. But
Yeah.
just to touch people and go, hey, dig down, because if you think there's a ray of light, there is.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
that makes a difference.
Yeah, there's a reason that you're seeking one, right? It's because it's there, it's
Mm,
available for you. So I think that's really important for sure, what you just said. Love it.
mm,
I'm curious though, because we do talk about inner energy. So if you used to be along the water, when I think of water, I think of flow and movement and like new, right? Because if something's flowing, you're
mm.
never seeing the same water twice.
Yeah.
And now you said you're more surrounded by the earth, which is more stability, more of roundedness in what is currently. Have you noticed since this move that things in your life have changed based on the energy
Yes.
that you're on? And in what way?
Oh, most definitely. I mean, I used to walk the dogs on the beach when we were allowed to because we have restrictions.
Yeah.
And I was hopeless. I would stand on the beach with my legs apart, looking like I was commanding the sea like Moses. Because if I didn't plant my feet in my welly boots strongly, the feel of the current underneath on the beach would pull me. I was being pulled out to sea. Oh, good God, yeah. I'd never make a sailor because I would rock from side to side. The other dog walkers got it in the end. I mean,
Mhm.
not everybody obviously knows what I do because a lot of
Yeah.
people don't want to know.
Right.
But I would rock and pull. So you could, as you say, feel that flow. So it was always, I would say, quite an energetic time for me.
Yes. Yeah.
Obviously, lots of work, but it was always, I would say, bringing in new people and very much doing platform work, doing a lot of charity ghost hunts and things like that. Not always seriously, but making money for charity, doing lots of readings and reaching the people that were new,
Mhm.
and doing big audience things.
Okay.
Here now in the village, very much so. Do I go out of the village? No. Do I need to go out of the village? Because we only have a very limited bus service. We have no shops. We have
Mhm.
no bank. We have no post office. We have no ATM. We have nothing.
Mhm.
It's beautiful. So I'm now grounded.
Mhm.
I work purely online
Okay.
and everything is very slow.
Yeah.
Everything is very, I suppose you could say it's seasonal. I go with the seasons. When it's spring and summer, I go, oh, I think I'll work on this new idea. Winter and autumn, I'm like, yeah, I'll just plod along with this. So yes, I suppose age is one thing, but
Yeah.
also, yeah, it's a totally different feel. Not that it's stagnant. It's not stagnant.
No.
It's just, I suppose it is. I feel grounded and very, very, very much with my roots, which
Yeah,
is
like
with the
secure.
old
Like you're
Celtic stuff.
secure in the
Yeah,
money. You're
yeah,
secure in the clients. You're secure.
that's it.
And
Yeah.
I wanted to bring that up just because there's so many people out there that don't realize that their environment is affecting them so much. It's almost like when you go away on vacation somewhere and you feel a different environment for, a week or two, and then all of a sudden you come home and you feel that. That is the energy that you're living in and day out. And it's like, if you don't like that energy that you're coming back to, think about how that is playing such a huge role in your life. And I just wanted to bring that to somebody's attention because
Oh
it was a
no,
perfect example, the way that it came to
no,
life.
that's beautiful. I've often said that. People go, I'm so happy to be back in my own bed.
Hmm.
Great. So therefore, there's something in your home that you are totally confident about and happy with. So
Yes.
find that.
Yeah.
And I know I do little sound bites
Okay.
for my clients to help them. They get
Okay.
my voice, they stick it on the phone, and they play it over and over.
Hmm.
They're usually about sort of like 2 minutes long. And I do one that's called Finding Your Sacred Place. I remember saying to a lady a few years ago, she went, no, I don't want an altar in my home. My husband wouldn't let me. I went, no, 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 we're not doing an altar. I said to her, walk round your house.
Hmm.
And she lives in the center of a big city, noisy city, not smoky because you don't have smoke now, but you know what I mean. Lots of
Yeah.
glass, lots of bricks, lots of traffic
Hmm.
and shared. So the house is split into apartments.
Okay.
And she went, well, there's nothing special. I said, walk round. And we decided that she really liked the little tiny child's bedroom. She liked that room, and the daughter had outgrown it, and it was a nothing room.
Mhm.
So what she actually did was, after we did a little bit of a talk, she sat in that room, she made it her study, and she
Mm.
said how her work changed in there, how she was much more happy, how she got a promotion. Nothing to
Oh.
do with me, just simply because she said, I love being home. I
Mm.
love my bed. It actually wasn't, it was the room next to it that she liked.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
I think you've just made the point. It's finding that something
Yeah.
that makes you feel comfortable, good, invigorated, maybe.
Yeah, like, not even just comfortable, because comfortables can be the enemy of
Yeah.
progress, right? But, like,
Yeah.
yeah, invigorated, energized, restored. I always think of, like, bliss, because I always get this feeling of my cup is being, like, literally overflown, but not in a bad way. It's, like, so much love that I'm spilling love on everyone and everywhere I go. And it's like, what is that for you, and how can you bring more of that in your life?
Yeah. But Katie,
Yes.
let's tell everybody you are an overflowing cup, my darling. You make everybody feel so gorgeous and
Oh,
lovely
well,
because you
thank you.
give so much of you. You radiate. Anyone that doesn't know you doesn't know. You radiate love and warmth and healing. Even if you don't intend to, you're doing it. It's beautiful. But it is, I mean, not everybody wants to win a race. Not
Right.
everybody wants to do a marathon walk. Some people just want to achieve a simple goal. And I
Yeah.
think today's life and different circumstances and the way the world is, I think it slows people down, or they say, oh, I'm not good enough, or
Yeah.
oh, not for me, another day maybe. And I think
Mhm.
that's the thing. But talking about energy, I also think that a lot of people aren't aware of how things around them, not just the home, but
Mm.
things around them, and the way, I'm not talking politics, but I'm talking
Yeah.
about the sad world in itself, how that can weigh people down. So
Oh,
people do need to know, like, if you come in and it's raining and you take off your wet coat, you
mhm.
don't just throw it down, you dry your coat off, don't you? You either dry it or you hang it up, let it
Yeah.
dry.
Mhm.
So I think people should realize that when they've had a bad day at work, or a row in their relationship, or the train got stuck and they had to walk back, when you're a bit negative, then you need to take off that outer casing,
Yeah.
tuck it away,
Yeah.
and find that new you inside. I always say, take off the outside coat, give it a shakedown, and find the new you. And that probably sounds very silly, but it
No, I
does make
love
a
it.
difference.
I love
Yeah,
that.
does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I love it. Like, I've often been shown by spirit. I've never actually felt compelled yet to do one, but they always show me images of me hosting like a meditation hour, or, like a big group, like where everybody comes in. And I always see myself every single time when they come in. As they're walking in, I say, now, as you take off your coat and your purse and all that stuff down, I want you to energetically do the exact same thing. Whatever you were just worrying about, whatever you were thinking about, I want you to pretend that when you put your coat down, that you are putting that down as well. And we're going to start this off in a completely blank slate. Outside world, done, over with. We're checking that coat and that energy at the same way. So I totally understand what you're getting. Sometimes that's a little hard for me. So my husband will look at me and be like, you just need to go meditate. He's like he's like, "I know you will come out better when you get done meditating, so you go meditate and then we'll talk about it."
See, I love that. See, my husband's off pat one to me is, I'll say something. I'll say, someone said to me, and he'll say, is that a real person or a dead one? That's how my husband always refers to things.
And your
I
answer
think
is, "It's a real person, and they just may not be in
yeah,
in the body
yeah,
anymore."
they're just not in their body anymore. Or I don't know. I don't know. But it's strange you should say that about meditation and energy.
Mm,
Back in the 60s, we all did yoga. We all ran
mhm.
yoga classes. And we all had a big Maharishi because it was the Beatles thing and everyone was loving in and all the rest of it in London.
Yeah.
And we had a big, big yoga class with this Maharishi. There must be about 50 of us. And he took us on this amazing meditation.
Okay.
And he said, now I want you all to feel as you rise up. And I sank down. I could feel roots into the ground.
Really?
And I thought, oh my God, I'm doing it wrong. Oh, this is wrong. Then he said, now we ground ourselves. And I was rising up. And I thought, typical of me, I'm back to front to everybody else. So it was wonderful. And I really
Yeah.
loved it.
Yeah.
So afterwards, I said to him, think I'm a bit of a failure. Mine
Yeah.
was back to front. He said, I know, I saw it.
Really?
He said, I saw you. He said, it's natural. He said, do it your way. He said, because your way is the real way. He said, you felt it. He said, you're old school. He said, you know. He said, you're of nature. Just do what feels right. He said, everyone else will do their thing. He said, do it your way and don't doubt. But I was watching all these people rise and I'm down.
Oh my God.
I,
I'm
I just thought I'd share that because there might be somebody else like me that is doing something or feeling the opposite to everybody else.
Oh my God, I love that you shared that because that's like a perfect example of like every single person is different. And just because you're not doing it the exact same way, as long as, I mean, you did both, you just did them in opposite
Mhm.
order. So
I
it
just did it
doesn't
the
matter
opposite.
how
Yeah.
you got there, the result was the same. And I think that's a very good message to share with everyone. I love
And I didn't crash with anybody else on the way down either. That was great. But yeah, I think that was a real eye opener for me.
Yeah.
And that was when I sort of, it was the early days. And
Yeah.
I then thought, well, you know what? I don't care if I don't think like others and I don't speak like others and I don't do the same. And I've always been different.
Yeah. That's
And I think that's when I was brought up believing I was different. My mother thought I was insane. I was going to put me in an asylum because of the way I did things and thought things. I
even
did.
though even though your grandparents were the same, I don't understand
Well,
that.
they weren't her parents. That was my father's parents. So
Okay.
that was a no. But it was, you're not normal. Being born on Halloween, you're definitely not normal. It's not. She even changed my birthday
She did
the day
not.
before. She did to the day before because she would
Really?
not let people know that I was born on Halloween. It's not normal. Not normal.
It's just a day of the year. Why can't you be born in Halloween?
Exactly. But I think, that's how people sometimes perceive what we do.
Mhm.
And again, I'm not out there shouting. I don't know about you, Katie, but I'm not out there shouting, I'm a psychic medium. My website sits very quietly in the background, my dear website. Maybe this will touch someone out there. I often say to clients, have you ever been in a situation with a group of colleagues or friends where a new person enters and everyone likes them and you don't? Do you then feel, obviously, you're not going to voice it too much, but do
Yeah,
you then feel you have to like that person because everybody else does?
right.
Or
Yes.
the same thing or the same situation and someone comes in, you absolutely really take to and everyone else is going, oh no,
Yeah.
no, 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 no. And you think, that's it. Again, do you change how you feel? Because I don't.
Yeah. I
If
think
I
a
mean, it's
lot of
very
people
rare.
do, right? Like, I think a
Yeah,
lot of
yeah.
people are like, there must be something wrong with me that I'm not attracted to this. And I don't mean attracted as whatever, relationship,
Mm,
whatever, but like just
mm,
energy, like connecting.
mm.
Like, what is it about this person that everybody else is into and I'm not? Maybe there's something wrong with me. So then they berate themselves,
Yeah,
even though there may be something that their intuition is picking up on about that person that will eventually be a red
yeah.
flag and everyone will find out later, oh, that was an embezzler or, you know,
Mm,
something like that. Think of how many years, however long that took to happen. And all of a sudden they've been like, I've been berating myself for years because I don't like this person. I didn't know why. And here my intuition knew something I didn't. And I've beat myself up over and over and over again because of it. Look what it was telling
yeah,
me, you know?
exactly. And I think that's perfectly put, Katie, because that's the whole point. How many of us go, and I talk about us as a whole, how
Mhm.
many of us go through our lives thinking we're not the norm
Yeah.
or how different we are, or there must be something wrong with us because we don't think like the others. When
Right.
actually, if we were all honest, we don't have to go out there waving a flag and shouting with a banner. We don't have to do that or be oppressive,
No.
but just be comfortable in the fact so that if you don't particularly want to, I don't say turn your back on them, but
Mhm.
just sit quietly in that group thinking, not really for me.
Right.
And then, as you say, you could warm to them later because it turns out that person is having a bad time and is acting over the top because they're trying to impress people and
Yeah.
be nice.
Yeah.
But I think, again, it comes down to how we perceive things and how we are. And we can't all be the same.
No.
Could you imagine in your family if everybody thought the same way and liked the same things?
I think that's always interesting because I listen and I don't like, I wish I could recall what it was, but I listened to this YouTube video where it was talking about, and this was about the Bible, right? So it was talking about how God created us all to be unique so we could learn how to coexist together, so we could create a better picture because we have all the colors of the rainbow and all the different skills. But then it's like, as we get older, we kind of want to surround ourselves with people that are like us just because it's easier. Honestly, sometimes I feel like it is just easier because then you're not having to tiptoe around certain subjects that set this person off and set this person off and set this person off. And we just were like, okay, well, apparently we don't want to hang out with them anymore because that's going to be a whole thing and da da da. Da. And it's just because it's easier, but that doesn't mean that it's the right way to go. And
Mm.
actually, I was listening to this neuroscience, like this recent neuroscience study that they had done. And he was talking about how brain atrophy, which was like the Alzheimer's and stuff like that, is actually in the study, it was showing that it's the lack of challenging yourself to new things that create the new neural pathways that actually causes this. So you want to constantly be growing. You want to constantly be having those new conversations where you're on this, like, you're on side A and the other person's on side B, and you actually, for your brain health, want to have those conversations because that keeps your brain healthier. So isn't that crazy?
No, it's beautiful, beautifully put. It's the same I can put with my nursing
Hmm.
from years ago. I
Yeah.
can put the fact that when you're dealing with people with any form of dementia, that you can't do that stimulation anymore because their brain has shut down to a point where it can't grow. So you take them back to comfortable times, usually back to being with their partner in the early days, and then of course go back to childhood where
Hmm.
they felt safe and they felt cozy. You
Yeah.
can't do that with many people now because that would be flat, wouldn't it? So it's the idea is stimulation
Yeah.
until you get to the point where your brain can't be stimulated because of a condition. So then you go back to comfort. I think that's where the gift we are given, and we are gifted,
Hmm.
is to be taken with such acceptance and grace and pure joy because we
Yeah.
are blessed.
Yeah.
I'm not saying we're pure and holy. You might be, but I'm certainly
No,
not. But
definitely
it's
not.
that feeling, it's that feeling of we've been chosen. Because I don't know about you, I can't be sad. Of course, I've been sad. There've been sad things in my life, but I can't be sad for long because somebody up there always does something or shows me something that is really stupid and it makes me laugh. It's like now I've got two beloveds up there pulling faces at me, going, "You're boring." And it's so lovely. You know, when we're talking, I'll suddenly
Y-
go, I've got this feeling about, and
Yeah.
it can be random, but
Yeah.
how amazed. I just wish people could just tap into their sense, their feeling
Yeah.
occasionally
Be
if they
open
don't.
to
And
it.
just, yeah, it's not scary. It's not bad. And, I mean, they're not going to give you crazy. Oh, they give me crazy stuff because I'm crazy. But,
You are,
but,
you are not
and
crazy.
as as I said to you before, I'm only the messenger. So I might give messages or pictures of things to people.
Mhm.
And then I say, well, look, it doesn't make sense to me, but I hope it does to you because it's
Yeah.
part of what we've been talking about or whatever. But
Mhm.
it's just, there must just be people out there that haven't tapped in.
Yeah.
And all I'm going to say is, if you've got a feeling, just go with it
I
because
love
they're
that.
going to show you something beautiful.
Yes. Oh, that is perfect. That's what I love. I love spirits so much because it's like you said, they definitely use the laughter as a form as medicine. It's the
Mm.
best form of medicine. They use it all the time. If I'm getting too serious, they will they will do something to make me laugh at myself. And I love that lightheartedness about it too, because it's like even the other day I was starting to get really frustrated with time and lack and whatever. And all my grandma had to do was tap me on the arm. And that was just like a oh, that's right. I'm going down there again. And then I went back to my techniques of breath work and imagining the weight being lifted off of me. And I was just like, that's all I needed. Sometimes it's a little more serious than that, but it was just like just having them there and knowing that no matter what I'm going through, they are going to be there and they're going to be offering me guidance and help and support. And that's just makes such a big deal. That's just a big
That's
difference in my life. And I love
That's
that.
so beautiful. And look at the big grin on your face as
I
well.
know.
It's lovely.
I mean,
My
the listeners
grandmother,
can't see it, but oh, I just love
no,
working with spirit. They
yeah,
are just so fun. I love it.
it is uplifting, isn't it?
Yeah.
We hit on things that are very sad. And of course, you don't smile and laugh at the wrong time. But I can guarantee, even with sadness, every reading I do, every connection I make, spirit will do something to make us laugh
Yeah.
in the right place, obviously.
Right. And I think that that's essential because they want to get to the deep stuff, the stuff that
Mm,
hurts. You know, somebody broke their heart. That's that happened. I'm sorry. And they want you to address what happened that broke your heart. But then they don't want to leave you in this
Mm.
depressed state. They want to do something to be like, okay, we've healed that now. We're moving forward. And they'll give you something light to take away from it. I love that. So, speaking of, I know we're going to wrap up our time here shortly. I don't want to take any more of yours. But since you've worked with so many different clients for so long, what is the best piece of advice that you've ever given? And then if you want to share your most cool, unique experience, that would be awesome too.
I think the saddest one that was probably the most uplifting was a beautiful client several years ago who lost her twin daughters in a car crash.
Hmm.
And she'd been to many, many, many circles, lots of bigger meetings.
Hmm.
And she said to me, I don't do one to one. And this was in the days when I used to do face to face.
Yeah.
And she said, it's their birthday. So I said, okay. And she said, anything. I don't care, just anything. And not only did we get the twin girls giving her a birthday cake, because her birthday was the next day and she hadn't said, but it was also bringing through her parents and her grandparents and her best friend who had passed with cancer. In sitting in the room I used to work in the old house, we had like a party. And I said, and so is here. And we shared all these beautiful, do you remember when? And do you remember how? And it was so what had come to be the most miserable, and she was expecting these most profound messages. She got lots of stuff from lots of people. And we were laughing so much at the end of it when she left. And then she gave me the big hug. My husband said, "You having a party?" I went, "Yeah."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that is the
Oh,
coolest thing ever.
it was just literally they brought the party to us in the room. And I think that's something that I will never forget. And I think as far as advice goes, I think that was a thing for her was she'd held so tight at so many gatherings wanting a message that she sort of held herself a bit tight maybe.
Yeah.
And because it was not because it was me, but it was because it was a one-on-one and they just wanted to really get through to us. So I think they really penetrated and I probably had just got relaxed enough to get the lot. So I was only the messenger. But that's the other thing. And I think that's the thing to remember. If people do go to a church or any of those platforms, when you're on the stage, you can see the people and they're going, give me a message, please give. You can see their whole body is tense.
Yeah.
And spirit tries so hard to get through. Do you remember the film Ghost?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And when Patrick Swayze is trying to push the penny across the door frame.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you call it a subway, don't you? The subway where the rather angry spirit is trying to kick the can, and he can't kick it, he kicks through it. Mm-hmm. That is how I liken. I think that's really real. Yeah. Because we're in a time dimension and they try so hard to get to us. And if we leave it quite relaxed, we don't make it such like a brick wall for them to get through.
Yes.
And I think that's the thing. And you can see they're going, please give me a message. Please give me a message. I want my son. Yeah. And they're like, I'm here, mum. Yes. But I can't quite get to you. Mm-hmm. So you have, as a medium, you have to be relaxed enough to be able to go, okay, I've got you. Come up here and work through me and we'll get to mum. So they're the ones I think I remember the most. And just laughing. It's just, I love what I do.
I was going to say, that is so beautiful. I've even thought about doing that because last summer, Mitch's grandma had died last year. Last summer, my husband and I were playing cards and I had never played gin with him and kicked his butt like I did. Like I was like, oh my gosh. But I felt her and she was a card shark and she could win even when him and his cousins were cheating. By the end of it, because there was a couple times where he's like, oh my gosh, that's something my grandma would do. That is like a move my grandma pulled on me over and over and over again. And I was like, Mitch, she's with me. Like she's playing through me. And I have never had this experience before, but it was the coolest experience ever. We finished up the game. I thanked her for coming. He thanked her for coming because it was like he got to spend another couple hours with his grandma. So as a medium, I'm like, man, that'd be kind of cool if you'd be like, hey, offer that as a service, where there's people that are like, hey, we're going to get together and we just want to hopefully have so-and-so come, they've passed away, but it'd be nice to have them there. Like, man, could you do that? Could you be like, yeah, I'll try to bring them because you can't guarantee who's coming through, but
no,
I mean,
Yeah.
that's just in my farthest, like, wouldn't that be
No.
cool if you could do that?
Isn't it beautiful though? You
Oh
see,
my
and
gosh.
that's people always think about, and you now are feeling this, and can you take this? No,
Yeah.
it's not like that at all. They're so desperate to be loved again and remembered again and to
Yeah.
pass stuff over. So
Yeah.
they're watching over us.
All
They
the
want
time.
to
Yeah.
pass stuff over.
Yeah.
I remember I got someone's mother-in-law once, and she said, "I don't want my mother-in-law." And I went, "Hmm." And the mother-in-law said, "You tell her from me, I'm not going anywhere till I've spoken to her. My son was a rotter." And when I told her, she went, "Oh, it's okay then." But I have this mother-in-law and daughter-in-law. I thought, "Oh," but it was fine. Yeah,
Yeah. But that's
it's real. It's
mhm.
so real.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, is like a lot of people do only want a specific person, but it's the person that they actually need that comes through and they don't
Yeah,
realize that they need it.
yeah.
But that's what I love about, dude, I'm just the, medium. I'm just the messenger. Spirit knows who you need to speak through to get the healing that you need to live your best life today. And that's what it's about. I love
It's
it.
gorgeous, isn't it?
It is.
Aren't we blessed? Aren't
We
we
are
lucky?
very blessed. We are very blessed. And I feel like we have a really great podcast here. And I would love to have Elaine on again, but we will end it here.
I'd
And
love to.
thank you so much for coming. I love you so much.
I've loved every minute of it, and I love you, my darling, and thank you for having me. I'd like to come again, please.
Beautiful. Sounds great. Thank you so much for joining me on today's episode. I wish you the most love, light, and inspiration. With all of my love, Katie.